Oh, here we go. We're basically a buy-sell trade store. Got a buyout going down with another crazy buyout. Let's get into it.
Going brick and mortar, what was that like?
Yeah, so it was definitely a big leap of faith. I had, I don't know, like $200 maybe in the register. So if the first day did poorly and like I didn't sell anything, it would have been really bad. The craziest realization that came when I had a really good first day. I locked the door. I was like, oh, I see. This is going to be my life for the next couple of years. We're doing a challenge today. Whoever could curl it the most in a row wins it for free. If that cycle ends, my business ends. So that hit me really hard.
Travis Scott collabs, overrated, underrated.
Is there a middle to that? I got a good one though. I could tell you right off the back, overrated. But I love them because they're one of our best sellers. Nike Dunk Low.
Hey everybody, what's going on? I'm Joe Strain and this is the JoyRush Podcast. It's the show where you figure out what you want to do when you grow up. Today I'm joined by the owner and founder of the Connect clothing store, Lucas Maher. Lucas's love for fashion led him to take a more entrepreneurial route, opting to open his store in lieu of attending college. The store is located in Montclair, New Jersey, and is a staple in the vintage and sneakers scene, combining new and old fashion styles. There you can find everything from original vintage tees to today's trending brands like Supreme and Off-White. If you're looking for style, new or old, you can find it at Connect. Lucas, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. Great intro.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. You know, getting it the second try around. I mean, before I hit record, we were talking about, you're got a good customer. You're doing some house calls, some swaps. In your words, do you want to just kind of describe the store and what it means to you and what kind of it is now?
Yeah, so we're basically a buy-sell trade store. So we buy almost anything that people bring in. Obviously, we still go for online drops, depending on what it is. It's either Nike or Jordan drop something, or brands like Supreme, Spider, different companies like that also do online drops. So we'll go for it, get like it for retail, or we'll just have people, I'll post up saying, hey guys, looking to cash out on these pairs of shoes or this type of t-shirt, and people bring it in, or it's, people just bring in random stuff. I mean, everything in the background here is all from stuff people randomly walked in with, which is pretty crazy.
Yeah, I remember when we were chatting the first time we were giving it a go around, you were pointing at some sneakers that you had on the wall that kind of, that started it all. If you want to kind of talk through that.
It'd be this one and bags in the way, but again, it's super messy right now because we're doing some expansion. Where is this? That one,
Hey.
And then that's the LeBron 9, and that's the KD 4, and then I don't have any Kobe 7s, but that was around 2011, which was when I really fell in love with the Nike basketball shoe. Personally, I still think, and it's almost, undisputed that 2011 to 2012 was the best year for all like Nike basketball. That's when like these shoes used to be, $1,000, $2,000. I mean, these are still up here because those are the LeBron 9 Irish samples, so they never actually got released to the public. But basically how I got into that is my brother was really big into basketball, and since he was the older brother, I was looking up to him, and he was obviously playing basketball, so comes with that is following all the basketball players and what shoes they were rocking, and then he put me on to KD 4s, LeBron 9s, LeBron 10s, and that really just started the love for it. So that was back in like 5th grade, and then over the years, I always kept my eye on them. When I'd go on Nike ID, customize my own shoes, never buy them, but it was fun to mess around with them. And then around 7th and 8th grade is when I started cleaning shoes for my friends, and then slowly got into repainting. So people would basically bring me their beat up shoes. I'd get soap, water, and a brush, scrub them down. They'd give me like $10, $20, and then that turned into repainting shoes, which I'd get a little bit more for. And then from there, I'd save up, buy one shoe, sell that shoe, and then that ball sort of just kept on rolling. And then it slowly, from having shoes, you need nice pants or a nice shirt to match with it. So that got into like getting into clothes and all stuff like that. And it's honestly hasn't stopped since.
Yeah, I mean, when you explain it like that, the store kind of feels like a large closet for you. Not necessarily in the fact that you'd wear everything there, but just that it's all handpicked, all pieces that you love or think that someone close to you might love. Going brick and mortar, what was that like? I mean, obviously, whenever entrepreneurs talk about taking that next big leap into owning your own business, owning your own store, what was the decision like? What was kind of the tipping point? You were like, I'm gonna do this, and then what was the process like of actually getting that ball rolling?
Yeah, so it was definitely a big leap of faith, because this was right after high school, so 2019 is when I opened the first store on South Fullerton, and it was all my money I had saved up. I have an index card laying around somewhere in my house with the breakdown of like how much I had cash in my bank account, Cash App, and I just perfectly calculated it so I had enough for the deposit and the first month. I already had inventory because I've been saving for a couple of years, like all throughout high school, I was saving stuff. And then I had, I don't know, like $200 maybe in the register. So if the first day did poorly, and like I didn't sell anything, it would have been really bad. But luckily we had a little bit of a line there, so it was really exciting. And then, I mean, knock on wood, it's been going ever since. But granted, like I knew going into it was a huge risk because, again, if I did fail, it's all my money I had. Plus the credit would have ruined me for signing a new lease. And then backing out of it really quickly. But yeah, it just I think it's just because I'm thankful enough to have a certain eye for this type of stuff. Granted, if I wasn't into it as much as I am, the store probably would be better if I had the same eye. But I have a habit of, again, keeping a lot of stuff I really like. So it's a as Biggie says, I think it was Biggie, don't get high on your own supply. Yeah, I can't help it. It's really bad. But I've been getting a little bit better because, as you can see, there's really not much room left. And this is just my workspace down here. This is where all the inventory goes, like everything over here, all that stuff. But yeah, huge leap, but thankfully it all worked out, paid off.
So you had that kind of first day of success and the ball started rolling. I know that I hear a lot in like small businesses or business owners, they talk about that kind of entrepreneurial fear of just like the stress that's associated with every day of having to make it work, that no one else is going to do that work for you. Um, do you have that? And was that kind of a stronger emotion early on, then it's kind of subsided into you kind of just doing the right things? Or early on, were you super stressed about growth continuously and just how the store was performing?
I wouldn't really say stress. I mean, yeah, there's definitely some times where it does get stressful, but it's mainly just I look at it as a challenge. So it's one of those things where, like, the craziest realization it came when after I had a really good first day, I locked the door, went home, and then opened it the second day. I was like, oh, I see. This is going to be my life for the next couple of years of just always, since we're a buy sell trade, it's if the store is not open, one, we aren't selling stuff, two, we're not getting new products in. So that cycle if that cycle ends, my business ends. So that hit me really hard. Like I was like, oh, this is just a consistent cycle that will hopefully never end, because if it does, again, the business would go down. But yeah, I didn't really look at it as stressful though. It's more of just a challenge, and I mean, I love this stuff, so that's like was a big bonus that it didn't seem that stressful. I'm sure if I was selling, I don't know, wallpaper or paint or something like that, that would be more stressful because I'm just not really into that. So it's, again, they say do what you love and you'll never work a day in your life. I agree to it to a certain extent, but I do know, I mean, I'm here usually, the work hours is usually, it's 7 days a week, 7 hours a day, but I'm usually getting here like 2 or 3 hours beforehand, prepping for the day. So it's really like almost like a 10-hour day, 7 days a week. And it's been like that for the last couple of years. Obviously, there's some, I'm fortunate enough that I've grown gotten employees now, so some days I can afford to take a day off and do personal stuff or just rest, do nothing. But those are far and few in between.
Yeah, I've got a I've got a question about delegation for you, but before that, I kind of wanted to touch on that, like that realization of this is what my life is now. Was there, um, because I feel like that's a really big eureka moment. Was there a sort of relief in that, or kind of like, it feels like it's the answer to a kind of very existential question of what is my purpose, or what will I be doing with my life, and kind of having that realization after day one and just being like, all right, cool. Like I get to do this every day. Was that like super satisfying or a little scary at the same time?
I mean, super thankful that I found out what I wanted to do, but at the same time, I'm someone that hates routines. And here I am in a routine 7 days a week, 365. It was more scary though to realize like, oh, this is like at that point I saw like, oh, this is just a never ending cycle that I'm gonna have to do. So it was pretty scary. But then I realized like as time went on, I was like, honestly, things could be so much worse. I could be working, for a job I can't stand every day. I mean, here, yeah, all the pressure's on me. I can't blame anybody else if we didn't have a good day or if I can't pay rent. It comes back to it's my fault. I mean, there's no other way about it. It's either I bought something bad and it didn't sell well, or I'm not marketing correctly. But it's nice to know that there's no excuse. If I fail, it is me. The only excuse so far was a COVID situation where they legally like locked us down. I still like was on Instagram selling online, but in person they locked me down. So that was the only like excuse. But again, I found a way around it. So it's not like the greatest excuse, but we made it through, and I mean we came out even better on top after COVID because we got to move the store to a bigger location, which was really nice.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Um, but kind of speaking to delegating and hiring people, I know from firsthand that at least on your Instagram reels, you really love cutting them and editing them yourself. Is there something that you found has been very easy for you to get to delegate once you've started hiring people, or have you found something that you've had a really hard time of letting go and letting other people get their hands on?
Great example, I guess, is the Instagram Reels, and just all the videos and whatnot. I've had a editor before, but it would be one of those things. He would send me a clip. I'd send him all the footage. He would come back, edit it, and I'd just tweak it here and there. And just to make it better, there's some things I felt wasn't needed and other things that should have been added. And going back and forth, I'm paying him to do this, but I didn't. There's certain things where you have the vision for it, and especially with like something like that, like putting myself out there in terms of recording, I wanted to make sure it's something I really thought was the best to represent the image of the brand. So that's why I just ended up just taking over all the editing for the Instagram. Posting too, that's another thing. It's pretty hard to let go of something that people are just going to look at the brand and say, this is the representation of the brand. Even though like it could just be one post, it could, that could be the first time ever seeing it. So something like that, very hard to let go. I've been getting better at it. I have a really good manager, Dan. He's been a huge help to the shop's expansion and growth. But yeah, finding employees, huge struggle. I've went through over 10. So that's, I'd never thought at my age, to have gone to even have an opportunity to hire people. But right now it's me and 2 other employees full time. So at 24, again, never thought I'd be having 2 full-time employees in the store. But it's, it's hard. But like Dan, I could definitely delegate stuff to. We've just been working together for so long now where like I trust his judgment in terms of buyouts, posting, dealing with customers. So that's why, he's now the manager of the shop. And he's been holding it down.
Is there anyone helping you with kind of the curation of the stuff in the store? Or is that pretty much just like it's easier for you just to do because it's all the brand?
No, I mean, I've definitely, I still do majority of the buyouts, but Dan also, it's just me and Dan in terms of the only people that I feel most comfortable with buying, especially when
Yeah.
it comes to the higher end stuff. Because I've had, like, there's some employees in the past where I've given the option, I'm like, hey, like, if you're comfortable, you can make an offer, but they always come back and say, like, hey, I'm not too comfortable spending your money because, I might overpay or buy something fake and I'd feel terrible that, like, this is your money, not mine. So I see where they're coming from, but that's why, you just gotta, once you build that relationship with someone, they sort of understand, especially if they have good judgment on it.
Yeah. No, that makes a lot of sense. It seems like a really tricky process to delegate and have them know exactly what you're looking for without the exact experience you've had. And so
100%.
building that relationship and letting go of some things definitely crucial, but there's other things you're just like, I can't, not yet. Um, with all that you've learned from running the store, if you were going to start a clothing brand, how would you go about creating the brand, the demand, and then marketing the product?
Definitely. I mean,
Just
a lot
just
of,
like high level.
yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things, like, for instance, you could do a simple, like, great example, the company Drew by Justin Bieber, super simple. It's a smiley face. It just says Drew on most of the tees. Usually sells out because it's Justin Bieber. So you can go that approach if you have someone really famous like that. I mean, not many people are like that or have access to it. So you could do, like, a huge endorsement with someone famous and have a simple design. But I truly think it's just like, if you have really good quality and really good, nothing's really original nowadays, but near original as possible, or put your own spin on a design, honestly, it would take off. For not easily, but it's definitely possible. We have one person, I don't know if any of his stuff's here. He's a guy out of Patterson. His name's 5 a.m. Rosa.
I've got a 5 a.m. shirt.
Yeah, so I don't know, you put it up on the screen somewhere here. But it's one of those, like, he has his own original. You see his artwork and even if you don't know him, you're like, I could tell this is by someone. And he's done a great example. I mean, that was one of my biggest buyouts early in the store days. Is I bought I want to say it was like 5,000 tees from him, all different designs, all different sizes, and they are still to this day like some of the best sellers for the shop. Just because it's a cheap price point. The quality of the tees, honestly, they could be better, but when you look at the price point of how much the shirts cost when you're buying it as a consumer, it's like, all right, it makes sense. I mean, I can't really complain. The print is still good. I actually use the same print manufacturer as my tees as he does. But it's just something, like, when you find, like, an original design and the price point's right, it's almost a no-brainer that, once you get the word out, and marketing too. If you take really good photos or really good ad campaign, if you want to say, it definitely could take off. I mean, I've seen it with his brand.
In my last conversation I had with this guy Steven, he's a YouTuber chef, not another cooking show. We talked about how now as an artist, as a store owner, as anything really, you are no longer just that thing. You are a creator, you are an art director, you're a marketer, you're a salesman. How do you think kind of having all those roles has played a part in the, like, the creation of your business? I know that at least on the Instagram, like, you've really kind of identified your own brand, and whenever I click on one of the stories, I kind of know what I'm expecting to see. Yeah, what's the process been like of kind of developing your own voice for the store in all those different areas?
Yeah, so I've definitely it's trial and error. So it's like, I'll get, like, let's say 10 items, and I know this one item is going to get a bunch of likes, but it's not going to sell. This item is going to get like 5 likes, but it will sell. And then there's other stuff where it's just like, it's hits the middle, where you get like 50, 60 likes and still sell within the same day or two, but that all comes from just trial and error. So there's certain things I know I could buy it 9 times out of 10, and whenever I post it, it's gonna sell within the day or within the week. And there's other items where it's just a sick store piece where it's like, let's say the Jordan ones from 1985, like stuff like that. It's like, it's sick just to have as the display piece. I'm not relatively in the market to sell them just because I am a collector with those pieces, but it's just like, it's, brings a different aesthetic to the shop. So it's definitely a trial and error thing. Some things have been pretty costly for, figuring out what works, what doesn't, but, it's just a part of the business, growing pains, if you would.
Yeah. Consistency, trial and error. Have you noticed anything that you put out on social media that had like popped off and you were not expecting it to? You're just like, I'll just try this one thing, and then it's now like a staple for what you do.
Yeah, I had a good feeling about it, but the first couple videos I didn't do well. But it was the 360 camera. So do I have it down here? No, I don't have it down here. But it's basically a camera that just, it just sticks on my head. I look like an idiot. It's basically like this. It's just like a camera that sticks down like here, but it records 360. So that, like, 4 videos in, I want to say, did really well randomly. So I was really shocked about that. And then I just started consistently uploading those types of videos. And it's been super helpful growing the business. The interactions are really good and the reach is ridiculous. I never thought I'd, reach this many people. It's crazy when you see that, like the interactions per month or per day. And then you see, wow, like 50,000 people saw this or 100,000 people saw this. And you're like, wow, that's a lot of people. But it's pretty sick.
Have you seen those kind of online views and followers transfer into kind of store metrics online and like an increase in digital sales? Because I know that whenever I come in the store, it's always busy, and I imagine there's a lot of foot traffic that comes from Instagram in Jersey, but the reach is so much bigger now with social media. Have you kind of seen the online presence of the website grow with your social media growth?
100%. Yeah, I noticed if I post a reel, and it does really well, let's say the first day it has like 20,000 views, the next couple of days, like the website traffic will pick up. And it's not new stuff we're posting. It's like old stuff that's been on the website, let's say for a couple of months. And it'll just randomly sell. So that could be coincidence, but I think it's definitely related to the interactions off Instagram.
See, that's so awesome. Just posting content from little old New Jersey, and somebody in California is like, that's the sickest shirt I've seen. I'm buying it right now.
Yeah, no, it's really nice. And then we also have like almost like bulk buyers. There's a few. There's one in California, one in Jersey, and then 2 out of Florida. But they consistently, like, they don't even message me anymore. They just go on our website and then they'll buy like 20 things at a time. So it's always sick seeing that.
Travis Scott collabs, overrated, underrated?
Is there a middle to that? I definitely think it's overrated, but like understandably overrated. Like he makes, for the most part, great colorways. They're usually pretty different. I mean, the backwards swoosh was pretty sick when it first came out, but it's right in the middle. I think it's perfectly rated, if that makes sense.
The off-white collection.
Great example. I can't really hate on it because I just copped these for the personal the other day.
Oh yeah, I saw that clip.
Yeah, so I'm super excited about these. I still don't know what laces. I'm leaning with green, but like black's just so subtle and clean.
Are you gonna destroy those babies or keep them nice and
yeah
crispy?
No, I'm gonna just I like to just, whenever I get a shoe, I like to just rock it. I mean, obviously if it's raining, I'm probably not gonna wear them, but I'm not like reckless with it. But I'm not.
Yeah.
I don't like watch where I step type of deal. But again, solid in the middle, perfectly rated. Definitely got a little overrated. I mean, R.I.P. to Virgil, but like right after his passing, all the prices spiked up, which happens most of the time, especially like it happens with the Kobe's. But now I think the prices are sort of coming back to the normal market of what they were before. Some still are up there, like these are still up there, but I got a good one though. I can tell you right off the back, overrated.
Let's hear
But
it.
I love them because they're one of our best sellers. Nike Dunk Low Pandas. Everyone has them. I have them. I know so many friends and family with them, but definitely overrated. But I'm not complaining because it's one of our best sellers for dunks.
Hit me with an underrated, the one that you're surprised more people aren't rocking.
Underrated. Do I have anything behind me?
How about a Nike Dunk Low colorway? It's underrated because I like the olive.
Well, the olives are nice. I think we just got them, and again, the store's a mess right now, so I have no idea what would be around. Honestly, I hope the Nike basketball comes back. Like KD4s, I think. LeBron 9s. I'm not gonna lie. Like if you're not into like shoes, like that's I hate to say it's a pretty ugly shoe. I just have like a sentimental attachment to it. But the KD4s, honestly, there's like a decent amount of colorways that's like the undefeated, like solid. If you wear some nice pants with them, like you could really pull off the KD4s. I think it's the best basketball shoe that could be turned into just like a casual wear. Not too comfortable, but love the model.
It's got a good look to it.
Yeah.
Was there someone in your family or your friends that really was kind of instrumental to you making the leap and starting the brick and mortar store, or was that kind of just like something that you moved in silence and were just like made that decision and then let people know afterwards?
No, so I definitely consulted like my brother, my mom, and my dad. They were all super supportive. I want to be very clear on that. They've always supported me on anything I wanted to do, but it's just one of those, they were very cautious about it because, again, it's a huge leap, especially at my age. My brother went to college. That's just like, it was just the usual thing to do after high school. You go to college. No one was thinking open a store. So they were all like cautious about it. But one of my biggest inspirations is probably he's like a great uncle to me, Uncle John. He's been super supportive and just like a role model because he has his own business in the city where they sell like furniture and stuff like that. So I always remember going into the city when I was younger and like going to his shop and just like seeing that it's like I get to see the back ends of like whenever you used to walk into a store, it's like that's what you see. It's nice to go behind the counter, so to speak, and like see what it's like behind. So that was like a slept on, if you would, role model that's, I didn't realize like when I was younger what it would do to me and what it would like inspire me to like think I could do and what I've accomplished so far. Super grateful for that. And of course, both of my parents, my brother, all been super supportive and role models, all in their own ways. But without them, obviously I wouldn't be here. So super thankful for that.
Dude, hell yeah. If you had like 3 tips for someone that wanted to start their own brand, their own store, do you have any like high level tips of just like making the jump, what not to do, what to do?
Save your money when you can. All throughout high school and even after high school, saving towards the store, there's everyone like, yo, let's go to the bar, let's go out and party. Like, yes, those are fun. You should do it once in a while, but if you do it consistently, there's no way you're going to save the money. So that was something I was very disciplined in, and especially like, don't treat yourself because there's so many shoes I've wanted, especially when I just opened the store before. I was like, I have to save my money. And like, I've just went back and bought them. Sure, I might have spent more than I could have got them for then, but it's, what I've saved and what that's, in return turned into, I would never change that. Believe in yourself. I know everyone probably says that, but it's, again, you should be the biggest believer in yourself. Obviously you have friends and family that might believe in you a lot more, but you should be your number one fan, your number one supporter, because at the end of the day, when you're looking in the mirror, the only person you see should be yourself, because again, you only got one life, so live it to the fullest. And yeah, I think that's about it.
That's all you need.
Yeah.
Well, you can follow the Connect Clothing Store on Instagram to see all their behind the scene reels, their latest pickups and drops. You can buy, sell, and trade at their website. Lucas Maher, thank you so much for jumping on the podcast. Pleasure talking to you, and I wish you well with everything on your plate.
No problem. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.